you told me 12 years ago that the weird Space Ninja game my friend showed me would become one of the best live service games ever made, I probably wouldn't have believed you. Nearly 12 years ago, a friend introduced me to a new game called Warframe. At the time, it was rough around the edges, but even then, we could tell it had something special. We spent hours sliding through levels, spamming melee attacks, and grinding for the Boltor just because it looked cool. It was chaotic, fast-paced, and most importantly, different. In an industry increasingly dominated by excessive microtransactions, paid DLC, gacha mechanics, and battle passes, Warframe has remained a shining example of how to do free-to-play right. While the gaming landscape has evolved dramatically over the years, Warframe has adapted without losing sight of what made it great in the first place. Its fluid gameplay, deep customization, and a commitment to keeping players engaged without nickel and diming them at every turn. Warframe was a Hail Mary attempt to save a struggling developer, a project that was stuck in what seemed like purgatory for years before launch, and in a genre that had heavy hitters like Borderlands, The Division, and Destiny. It's hard to believe Warframe would come out on top, but 12 years later, it's still standing. Warframe's journey didn't begin as a free-to-play looter-shooter. It was originally a game called Dark Sector, a game they tried pitching to publishers 25 years ago. While a publisher would eventually pick them up, the Dark Sector that released in 2008 was nothing like they had originally pitched, dropping the sci-fi elements and moving to a more grounded, realistic setting, and moving to a gameplay style more reminiscent of Resident Evil. Digital Extremes eventually found themselves struggling as the industry had moved away from work for hire contracts, which was DE's primary source of income at the time. Seeing the success of other free-to-play titles, DE decided to aim for the moon, and lucky for them, they landed in the stars. Launching in 2013 as a free-to-play title, Warframe had a long, arduous climb ahead of it. Whether it was the clunky movement, the game-breaking bugs, repetitive gameplay loop, or the fact that it had almost no story, it definitely did not launch in the best state. However, what was there had promise, and DE would not let that slip through their fingers. Digital Extremes kept their heads down and kept working on the game after launch, fixing as much as they could, implementing new features, and trying to keep their player base engaged. While a rocky start, the small but dedicated fan base could tell Warframe had a bright future ahead of it. And bright the future is indeed. Almost too bright sometimes. Despite Warframe's rocky start, the game managed to grow thanks to one key element: the way the developers handled community interaction. You can clearly see that the developers genuinely cared about the community, evident through initiatives like dev streams, community events, and TennoCon, an entire in-person convention dedicated to just Warframe. Rebecca Ford, who is the current creative director and former community ops director, played an essential role in building Warframe's community into what it is today. And it's not just because of the dev streams and events, it's because they take player feedback seriously. Parkour 2.0 was the direct result of a bug called coptering. Instead of patching the exploit and calling it a day, DE saw players enjoying the new movement tech, so they rewrote the entire movement system and gave players a system they'd enjoy for years to come. Even to this day, Digital Extremes is continuously making player-first decisions, in one of the more recent being the Atomicycle bug. In Warframe 1999, players received access to a new mode of transport, a motorcycle. While originally intended to only be used in the new Warframe 1999 missions on Holovania, players quickly realized they could use it pretty much anywhere. DE saw the community enjoying this, and instead of patching it out, they made it a feature, barring some specific missions like Arcwing and Railjack missions. So whether it's mechanics that weren't originally intended reshaping the future of the game, the removal of a gambling mechanic because people were using it too much, or just staying in touch with the community and what they enjoy, Digital Extremes have shown they truly love this community they created. Another cornerstone of Warframe's community is its incredibly dedicated content creators. Whether you're seeking build guides from creators like Warframe Flow, or the hilarious shitposts from Sabuchi, there's no shortage of content to explore. These creators not only provide entertainment, but also serve as an invaluable resource for new and veteran players alike. Digital Extremes further nurtures this ecosystem through its content creator partner program, fostering collaboration and support between the studio and its creators. Whether you're looking for help, inspiration, or just a good laugh, Warframe's content creators are an integral part of its enduring success. One big thing that Warframe has had to fight through is the stigma around free-to-play games. Free-to-play games have always carried and likely will continue to carry stigma among the general gaming community. But Warframe does free-to-play differently. Warframe does free-to-play right. Unlike many games that gate content behind paywalls or exploit gacha systems, Warframe ensures every major element is accessible through gameplay. There is nothing in this game you have to pay for. Almost everything in the game can be farmed for, from weapons, mods, warframes, and primes. You can complete this game without spending a single dime. But not only is everything farmable, but you can trade with other players and sell anything you don't want. So if there's something you want to get that costs platinum, Warframe's premium currency, you can get it just by playing the game. Warframe does have a battle pass, but it is completely free, and it is genuinely one of the best mechanics in the game for players in the early or mid-game. The pass rewards you with credits that you can spend at a shop that rotates its offerings on a weekly basis, some of those being tough to get or just generally rare items. Warframe has an absolute shit fuck ton of cosmetics, most of which being purchasable by platinum. Although there are some cosmetics that require you to open your wallet, these are generally community-made cosmetics called Tenno. All Tenno is created by players. Artists in the community can submit Tenno designs, and if they are selected, they get a 30% cut of the revenue. The developers have always wanted to keep Warframe fairly monetized, even going as far to remove mechanics that they or the community felt were out of place. When crew bros were introduced, a mechanic allowed players to randomly generate fur colors and patterns. DE made this mechanic cost 10 platinum, but after seeing one of their players roll the dice looking for a specific color over 200 times, DE quickly scrapped that mechanic. Let's be honest, no other developer would remove a mechanic that is actively making them money. And while Warframe's story on launch was nearly non-existent, it has blossomed into one of the most compelling narratives in modern gaming. With large cinematic quests like Second Dream, The Sacrifice, or Whispers in the Walls, Warframe has been building up their universe with some of the most incredible writing. Whether you're discovering the origins of the Tenno or warping back in time to 1999, it has been one of the most gripping storylines I've ever experienced, which is baffling considering this game is fucking free. These quests are not only emotional, but masterfully intertwined with the game's lore, adding layers of depth to an already rich universe. The combination of visual storytelling, voice acting, and unforgettable set pieces makes each quest a standout moment. The pacing of the narrative, however, is a double-edged sword. While it leaves players eagerly awaiting the next chapter, the wait between major quests can feel agonizing. I only wish it was possible for DE to release more quests at a faster pace, but the sheer quality of their storytelling makes the wait worth it. Additionally, while the game is mainly a self-insert power fantasy, Warframe still boasts some compelling characters who enhance the overall experience. Figures like Lotus or Hunhao bring a sense of gravity to the story, and their interactions with the player add an emotional dimension that's rare in games of this genre. However, it's hard to talk too much about the story without spoiling anything, so I'll just leave it there. And when it comes to the gameplay, where do I even start? The core gameplay loot is just kill shit, loot shit, build shit, and repeat. And me saying that may make you think that Warframe is just your typical looter shooter, but it is far from it. I'm not just talking about how it has an amazingly rich story or it's different because it's movement and gunplay. I legit mean that Warframe is not just a looter shooter. It's a fighting game, a roguelike, a social platform, a parkour game, a side-scrolling bullet hell game. You can produce your own songs, there's a Flappy Bird clone, and there's a fucking dating sim. Yes, you can date the goddamn proto-frames. When I say this game legitimately has so much fucking content in it, I am not kidding. And while you may spend a lot of your time farming and clearing the missions because that is the main game, There is so much else you can do, not to mention the fact that you have 60 plus Warframes to choose from, and who the fuck knows how many goddamn weapons and mods are in this game anymore. You could experience a completely different playstyle every day of the year and still not run out of unique experiences. If you wanted to, you could spend hours upon hours just building characters, whether you want to stealth through missions one-shotting all of your enemies slowly and methodically, or sprint at every enemy holding down left click, burning everything in front of you. You can give every enemy on the map a fungal infection, or smash your fucking face into a wall, killing everything next to you, or you could even just click one button and delete every enemy within a 2-mile radius of you. The universe is truly your oyster here. Not to mention you can zip through missions with some of the most satisfying movement you will likely experience in any game ever, from sliding, bullet jumping, and wall running to literally floating through the map as a fucking cloud. Seriously, there's almost nothing in this game you can't do. Want to pilot a spaceship with a crew of your friends like your space pirates? Railjack. Want to run around and explore some interesting open worlds? You have Orb Valis, Plains of Eidolon, Cambion Drift, and Duviri. Want to pretend you're Space Tony Hawk? There's a K-Drive. Want a jetpack? Fuck it, we have one of those too. And of course, you can't forget about your motorcycle and the ancient mech suit that you receive. At the end of the day, Warframe's gameplay isn't just about completing missions, it's about the freedom to play however you want. Whether you're chasing the thrill of combat, diving into its endless customization, or just exploring its expansive universe, Warframe offers something for everyone. It's not just a game, it's a playground of endless possibilities where your creativity and playstyle truly define your experience. And that's what makes it stand out as one of the most unique and enduring games out there. But personally, what truly elevates Warframe beyond its gameplay is the artistry that breathes life into its universe. Warframe's art style is a masterful blend of sci-fi futurism and ancient, organic, almost otherworldly designs, creating an insanely captivating visual identity. For example, the sleek blade-like curves of Excalibur evoke a sense of precision and lethality, while the angular biomechanical design of Nidus embodies his grotesque, mutation-driven nature. This commitment to thematic design extends to every aspect of the game, from the warframes and weapons to the environment and vehicle designs. Digital Extremes have created one of the best-looking universes to explore. The environments in Warframe are one of the most diverse aspects of the game, whether it's the breathtaking forest and jungles of Earth, cold metallic interiors of Corpus spaceships, or the grotesque, visceral, Lovecraftian horror-inspired landscape of Deimos. The open-world areas are no slouch either, expanding on each planet's visual motifs ripe with intricate textures, dynamic lighting, and environmental storytelling. Each region feels alive and pulsing with history and culture, drawing players deeper into its mysteries. This attention to detail extends beyond the world itself, as Digital Extremes empowers players with unparalleled freedom to customize almost every aspect of their experience. With nearly limitless customization options, skins, color palettes, ephemeras, syndanas, and a whole plethora of other options. You can change the color of nearly everything in the game. Want to look like a space banana zipping through the snowy plains of Orb Valis, or do you want to look like the lead singer of an early 2000s grunge band? Either way, the sky is the limit when it comes to customization options. But what truly sets Warframe's art apart is the ability to evolve while maintaining cohesion. Over the years, through updates and graphical overhauls, DE has refined its visuals, introducing higher fidelity models and more immersive environments, all while not straying from the game's unique aesthetic. This constant evolution ensures that Warframe remains visually cutting edge, engaging, and draws in new players while not alienating its veteran player base or destroying the world they've come to adore. The art style isn't just a backdrop, it's a living, breathing part of the experience, seamlessly weaving into the gameplay and storytelling to create a universe that feels truly alive. However, even a universe as visually stunning and immersive as Warframe's is not without its flaws, as the game's ambitious design and long lifespan have introduced challenges that can't be overlooked. While Warframe isn't plagued by problems, there are a few issues that have significantly impacted player retention over the years. One of the most prominent issues is the new player experience. Although there are plenty of external resources like YouTube videos or community guides, the in-game tools for guiding new players are quite limited. After the initial few quests, which introduce you to the basic mechanics and systems, the game sort of just leaves you to figure things out on your own. This lack of direction can feel quite overwhelming, especially considering the massive amount of content in the game. DE has tried to address this issue by creating a dedicated new and returning player guide on their website, but it's likely something you won't happen upon as a new player without actively seeking it out. They did also just release a new quest called The Teacher, but the community sentiment behind it has been pretty mixed. In the same vein, the returning player experience can be similarly challenging. Coming back from a long break feels almost like being dropped into a completely different world, with no guidance for new systems, missed updates, or just the general reacclimation to the game. This challenge for returning players is compounded by another issue that affects the entire community: the often lengthy gaps between major content updates, which can leave even the most dedicated players struggling to stay engaged. While Digital Extremes generally does a good job of keeping their community entertained through smaller events and updates, there have been notable periods of extended silence that frustrated players. One such gap between the Sacrifice, the last chapter of the War Within saga, and the New War was so infamous it spawned memes like The Wait Within. These delays can make the game feel stagnant at times, especially for those who have already explored all available content. However, despite these lulls, Warframe has a remarkable ability to reignite interest and draw players back in, thanks to its consistently engaging gameplay, captivating story, and the excitement surrounding new releases. Digital Extremes has demonstrated time and time again that when they do deliver, it's often worth the wait. Another frequently discussed issue within the community is balancing, particularly the challenge of managing power creep. This is a common issue in long-running games, not just Warframe, and Warframe is definitely no exception. With each new Warframe release, older frames can sometimes feel underwhelming by comparison. In response, DE has taken steps to rework some of these older frames to align with their more modern design philosophies, breathing new life into fan favorites. Unfortunately, there is still notable outliers. Warframes like Loki, which once stood as an iconic choice, now feels completely overshadowed and in need of attention. Balance is an ongoing challenge for Digital Extremes, and they've shown that they are willing to revisit and improve legacy content by continuing to address these issues. While actively engaging with their community, DE ensures that Warframe remains an evolving and rewarding experience for new and old players alike. Warframe is the perfect example of what live service games can achieve when they prioritize creativity, community interaction, and fair monetization. In an industry where exploitative practices dominate, Warframe stands as a refreshing exception, proving that success can and will come from putting players first. Over the 10 years the game has been a part of my life, I've experienced countless memorable moments, from booting up the game for the first time with my high school friend, the silly janky bugs I've experienced from time to time, getting stuck into trading like I had fallen into quicksand, connecting with the incredible community, or simply grinding out mastery rank. What sets Warframe apart from the other looter shooters or the free-to-play titles, aside from its monetization, is Digital Extremes' ability to adapt and innovate relentlessly. Not only have they crafted an expansive, ever-evolving universe, but also fostered a player-focused approach that ensures the game stays engaging and relevant. Although my relationship with Warframe is more akin to ebbs and flows, my admiration for the universe will always be there. As Warframe enters its second decade, I'm hopeful for its future. Digital Extremes has created an extremely strong foundation with a loyal community and developers committed to pushing the boundaries. There's almost no limit to what DE can achieve here. Whether you're a grizzled Tenno with thousands of hours, an ADHD-riddled game hopper like me, or considering hopping in for the first time, Warframe offers a truly special testament to the enduring power of passion and creativity, the likes of which are rare in this day and age.